How's it going, everybody? Welcome in. We'll get started here in just a couple minutes. Hopefully, River stops in a second here. We're just waiting on him, and then we'll get going. Pull up VST real quick. Sure, River or Norman. Oh wow, look at this one on a heater. Nice. Yeah, Power Name's definitely making a bit of a comeback here after that move lower. Definitely some upbeat kind of tones coming for him out of at least Meta's earnings. They want to keep capital expenditures high, especially in the AI department. And, if they're going to be spending a lot of money, they got to have something to power all those data centers that they're spending all the money on chips on. So it seems like these kind of power related AI names are definitely back. OKLO was a nice move lower earlier in this week or I guess late last week, but that seemed to have worked out nicely. GEV at 180, yeah. Probably told you about it back then, Norvin. Told you to buy after you brought up the chart, but you didn't do it.
Dude, Norvin has found such bangers. It's insane. And he just doesn't trade them, dude.
He doesn't hit him.
Norvin, hit the buy button, bro. And quit trading options and just buy shares, dude.
This one's one of my more favorite ones. Let's see if I save the Norvin levels or oh yeah, here we go. The Norvin entries. I even wrote the date down because I had a feeling this one would be a banger. Let me just go back real quick. All these VRT entries.
Yeah, dude, my VRT chart for him is wild too. VST is wild. Bro, dude, I had Norvin buy signals on SMCI at 42
That's
before it went to 1,000.
so wild, bro. Dude,
No.
right here, 117, I said buy over 50. 2 days later, it ripped over 50.
Wow. Yeah, that
Oh
was
my, went all the way to 150.
I know.
Dude, every single entry was given to you, Norman. 4,
So
10, 24.
yeah, so
Okay,
similar.
that one you would have got wrecked a bit, but it came back to the other entry for you. A couple of them you probably would have got throttled, for being honest here.
You cannot do no, but Norman, that's the thing, you don't buy and hold forever because like look at SMCI. It's a scam. I guess we'll find out. God, dude, I don't remember when the SMCI announcement is, but February, I think. We
Their
were
earnings?
no, they're do they get to stay listed on the market review?
Oh, I
They
didn't
didn't
realize that.
they didn't get any answers solved with that company. They just got the date of, delisting removed, like backed up, a month and a half.
That's so wild.
Dude, they're multiple quarters behind on releasing their earnings.
Yeah,
They
the last time
didn't,
they released was August.
they didn't even, yeah, they didn't even release a final quarter review.
They
Like,
just skipped it, they said.
and dude, do you want to know the even crazier part? You'd have to Google when it was, but like 10 years ago, bro, they were cooking the books and got delisted.
Really?
This would be the second time SMCI has delisted.
That's insane. I didn't know that.
Yes, dude. So it's like,
The
dude,
second time.
dude. I didn't learn that. Yeah, I didn't. Enron, dude. Yeah, I didn't learn it until after. Did you see Enron's back? All jokes aside.
I did see that actually. That was
That
kind of
was
suspicious. Dude, the interesting thing is the funny part is like all of a sudden the earnings per share just triple over 3 quarters and nobody really reacted to it. And then they basically almost
And then the Norvin effect.
They 7x'd in like three quarters and then stayed flat, and that's when it started ripping. It's like what?
It's insane. Yeah. Dude,
Kind
so
of wild.
they said NVIDIA. Okay, make one more post.
Yep. Well, why don't you? This is your lecture. You're supposed to be running this, dude. I don't know what happened with you.
God, anytime you and MMA get left at the helm, dude, train wreck.
Yeah, all right, dude. This is your night. Yeah, River and I are in a bit of a disagreement right now. He thought I don't know what he was thinking, but he was outside on the porch just yelling at the neighbors and thought he was going to get the day off tonight. So,
That ain't even real, dude.
all right. Well, River, you send out that other message. Anyway, tonight was kind of meant to be a follow up from our lecture on Tuesday,
Yeah, the
where we
follow-up
talked.
to your lecture.
Yep, and it was going to be ran by River, but he gave up tonight. So he decided he wants to smoke cigarettes instead of work. So that's fine. I guess here at Only Options, we just let anybody do anything here. Regardless, tonight, really the big idea is to kind of recap any questions you guys might have from the prior lecture. But ideally, we'd like some of you guys to come up, chat with us and share some charts. Especially this concept in specific, support and resistance is one that you're really only going to get better at if you actually, spend some time charting some levels and asking questions and, just seeing what other people think when you're first getting into it. But fundamentally, I think it's a pretty simple concept, but just like anything, you got to practice it. You could say the same thing about riding a bike or driving a car. It's pretty simple, but you got to practice. So, with that, I think, I don't know, River, I think I might take a bit of a risk here and just allow anybody to unmute.
Yeah,
Um,
send it. Why not?
yeah,
I expect the mute all button when it goes wrong.
yeah, as long as you just keep that ready for us, probably.
Yeah.
Let me see. Mute all, allow participants to unmute. All right, well, that muted me, but everybody should be able to unmute now, except Norman. We'll probably keep him muted just to keep things safe in here. But yeah, I mean, with that, I think, yeah, is anybody really itching to kind of get up and talk a little bit about support and resistance? And if it is Norman, Norman can probably kick us off if you want to. But yeah, the idea is really to review a couple of your charts and see if we can kind of talk through some levels with you. And let me actually make sure unmuting is enabled. I might not have done that appropriately. Oh yeah, everybody's allowed to unmute themselves.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, so basically, like I used to be in only option trades like a while back. I go under the name of Buzz. I've talked to Dirty River quite a few times, but I don't know, I took a couple like a year or two, a couple months off of trading, but I'm back into it. And honestly, all I do is trade like SPY, but I'm having like what I do is I just trade previous day high, previous day low, and then the other two levels I use is pre-market high and pre-market low. And honestly,
Okay.
like there's a lot of entries that I get into. Like today I got into a trade on the 15 minute, there's a hammer candle towards the upside. So I got into it and
What are you
it
trading on? What ticker?
SPY.
Okay, SPY.
So let me see. Okay, yeah. So on the 15 minute, like I usually trade off trade view. So
Okay.
but on the 15 minute, it was like at 16:30, there's like a hammer candle that printed. And I usually just trade off the 5 minute, but I like looking at the 15 minute every once in a while. But the issue I have is like, since I don't know, I feel like I've studied technical analysis and I need to focus on like the psychology behind it because like I had no reason to exit the trade, to be honest. Like I exited, if you can look, you see on the 5 minute how it's like kind of a big green candle that broke above pre-market, then the red candle, then another green candle.
Are you talking about this right here?
Let me look. Let me see. Oh wait. Let me look at your chart and then see my chart.
This looks like what I have as pre-market high. Let me zoom out and make sure. Yeah, so that's going to be your pre-market high, that level that I have marked there.
Yeah, so the trade I took was on that pre-market low.
Oh, off the pre-market
Yeah,
low.
I'm trying to see.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, if you go right up on that crosshair right there on to your right a little bit, a couple candles, right there, you see
Uh,
that three red three green candles and that red candle.
Three green candles in that red bar. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, so I took the trade right on that red bar
Okay.
about, or actually no, sorry. I took it after that green bar because I saw it held it pretty solid. So I took it on that little doji candle above it, and then
Okay.
I held it through that candle, the candle above it because it was still showing pretty relative strength. But then I had that big candle, it pumped. So I saw 20%. I sold, but I was trying to hold till the next level, but I don't know. Every time it just like I see profit, I kind of take it, and I know like it could go to that because that level that it hit is the yesterday's high. So I knew it could get there, but I don't know. I struggle with holding it till then. If that's something you guys could answer, like I know it's a psychology based thing, but I'm wondering if you guys ever struggled with like holding your
Well,
plays
nah,
that
but that's not even a psychology based thing. You sold where you should have sold.
you
Like,
think
I
so?
mean, yeah, I mean that's what Tostie's showing you. Look at what happened if you didn't sell. You went red.
Well, yeah, no, the thing is, I sold while that green candle was pumping. Like I didn't hold it until it closed.
This
Because I
Well,
sounds
like,
like a really good trade to me,
I mean,
honestly.
I don't know what
This
to tell
sounds
you,
like
dude. That's good.
it
That
sounds like
sounds
you just
pretty sweet.
described a damn good
1K,
trade.
what's up? We got all mics unmuted 1K, so feel free to join in. But no, that's a great trade. And so here's what you're doing, okay? Basically, in simple form, break and retest to support and resistance. You see a strong candle, it's holding, so you buy it. No questions asked. Now you look left on the chart. Where is the next resistance? It is exactly where that line is. So if you
Mhm.
sell anywhere 5, 10 cents before that, you sold at the right spot. Like, you bought calls at support and you sold at resistance. That's literally what you're supposed to do. Now, could you have maybe bought it when it pulled back down there again and then caught another move up? Sure. But as far as this trade went, like, I mean, it looks like you bought, you probably never saw red, you went green, you were nice and green, so you click the sell button. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
pretty perfectly
Yeah, I
executed.
guess sometimes I just kind of like overthinking a play, but I mean it sorry if I'm taking too long, but it goes back
Yeah.
to previous so I usually trade from like 8:30 to about like 11 and then call it a day. But before this trade, there's two other trades that I just completely w missed on. Like there's another hammer candle if you look back literally on the 5 minute right there. I had calls pulled up and I'm like before this big pump I'm like oh I want a little like red candle just to come down a little bit and then I'm gonna get in but it shot without me which is fine but I feel like sometimes I just don't trust my gut and kind of screws me but it is what it is I guess.
But I mean, that's better than that's sorry, I got an inappropriate DM. Missing a trade doesn't matter. Who cares? Like that's what you have
Mhm.
to remember. Like, whether you catch him or don't catch him doesn't even remotely matter. I mean, there's always a million more trades. So the best thing you can do is just ignore it. Who cares if you miss a trade? It's not a very big deal.
Yeah.
There's always a million more trades. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a ton of trades today if you wanted them, but don't ever worry about it. All you can do is make your plan and follow your plan, and support and resistance is that thing. You have a great idea entering down here at your pre-market lows or whatever it is, your whatever support, whatever resistance you use. And then, you buy calls at support. I mean, that's, of course you always want to look a little bit more, make sure it's actually support, blah, 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 but
Yeah.
you're looking for longs where you should be looking for longs. And at least based on this trade, you're exiting where you should be exiting, or, at the very least trimming, bumping if
Mhm.
you have more than one, bumping your stops up and obviously you get stopped out 15 minutes later, but that's a perfect trade. I mean, there's not much you could have done better there.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then I have one more trade if you guys are available if not that's okay.
Now we're good. Let's keep going.
All right, so there's also that same level. The pre-market, I have it as a pre-market low. I just have it as trading view. I mean, that's what it says, so I think that's a pre-market low. That's what I usually.
Hmm.
So there's that big red candle that broke that level. It was earlier in the day, earlier in the day.
What do you mean?
Yeah, right there. You have it bubbled up. This it's like
This one?
no, this one next to it,
Oh,
right?
this one. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so right there, I saw that we had a big red candle that broke the pre-market low. And
Hmm.
would that be like a good because we tested it, bounced, and then we came and broke it. Would that be a good entry for puts and like just to stop? and then the
I mean,
stop
not for
loss is
me. For me personally, no.
no.
You
Okay.
know, the main and this is awesome because I'm telling you no, and it worked, you know. But
Hmm.
yep, that's exactly why. That level right there, I ain't shorting into an intraday double bottom. Did that next candle absolutely crater? Sure, but that's not, you know, more often than not, that's not going to be the case. You know, generally speaking, shorting just a big red candle or longing a big green candle, a lot of the time a bit of a death wish, you know.
Yeah.
If we broke whatever your pre-market low is, your 60250 or whatever, we break
Hmm.
that, maybe we consolidate and stay under it for a second. That's a reasonable enough entry. But by the time you're, you know, if you're shorting the bottom of that big candle, then you only got a couple cents to the previous low. And then
Yeah.
if you're shorting anytime during that next candle, you're just 100% chasing. Did you make money? Yes. In the long run, though, doing that type of thing will typically make you lose some money. You know, we've had a lot of volatile days where you have gotten up a couple nice candles right in a row, but generally speaking, you aren't just going to get those kinds of moves where chasing makes any sort of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I didn't kind of enter. I don't like entering. Like once those candles are so far away from that 21 EMA, I'd kind of like waiting before I get into anything, to be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly. And that's, you know, that's kind of what EMAs are showing you is that, you know, you're getting, you know, how overextended are you in the market? And you can see very, very frequently on EMAs when you finally take a big pull away from them, that can be a sign that the reversal is going to come, not necessarily a reversal, but at the very least a retrace to kind of get back to that average, you know. And so not saying, you know, just because you see a big red candle long it trying to get back to the EMA, but when you start to see yourself get pulled really far from those EMAs, it can definitely be a sign that you're getting a bit overextended in one direction.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. That's all the questions I had.
Right on, man.
Thank
Cool.
you.
It sounds like you're doing the right thing, dude. I would say
Thank you. I
keep it up.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, who's next? We could talk about basically anything. Jamal talked about some trades that he was taking. Doesn't have to be about trades. It could be about charts you got, or yeah, anything similar. Jamal broke the ice for you, so it shouldn't be as scary anymore.
I did see one person asking, do you have a strat? Well, my beginner class is about to, or my beginner course is about to end. Well, mine's not necessarily beginners. And Toastie, this is, you know, technically part of his beginner class series, you know, so that's all going on right now. And that's what we're teaching is our strategies for trading, what we look for when it comes to trading. You know, and of course, Toastie and I do some things very similar and some things very different. But it always kind of comes back to, you know, most of us are going to be using support, resistance, trends, and some EMAs. You know, that, you know, what, depending, you know, who knows if it's EMAs or SMAs, you know, whatever it is. But basically any good trader you talk to is going to use some form of support, resistance, trends, and a couple EMAs in there somewhere. Oh, yeah, 1K saying he's giving you some specific support and resistance, and then an EMA or a moving average he likes. We all like, I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, we got somebody asking, look at XLF. That one's on a
Yeah.
here, dude. You should say, I gotta brag about an entry that I took, and I mean paper handed, of course.
Oh yeah.
I swung calls for that gap up.
Really?
Yeah, there was like bank earnings the next morning.
That's nice.
And that was one in voice chat. People said, you know, what do you think of bank earnings? And I said, I'm bullish on them. We should swing an XLF call. And then I cashed it like the first second of the day.
I think one thing to note too, and something that maybe people aren't thinking about bars such as this is when you see a massive gap up hold and not get sold down. I mean, you could look back on any chart. Some people refer this as to like a power earnings gap if it refers to or occurs on earnings, or sometimes it happens due to other scenarios. But when you see, even sequential gaps up like you did in XLF here, hold, that's not an indication of weakness, right? So
No.
even if you're not long, right, you definitely shouldn't be shorting into that. And I mean, even after a day like this day here, right, still definitely a valid long, not the best entry, but there's no damn way you should be
And I mean,
shorting.
really, yesterday and today are the first 2 days on XLF that we've seen some candles that I'm sort of like, okay, maybe I don't want to be long there for, you know, just right now. Did you see the SPY rejection today? At the exact, remember when we talked about the double gap? And if it gets into that double gap, it's going to fill it. And then it rejected, I think about 30 cents short of the top of that little double gap it had going on.
Oops, oops. Oh, that looks real close to the top of that.
It was
6066.
It was close.
20 cents, yeah.
20 cents. Yeah, we were close.
20 cents.
And it went on a ripper into it, just like we thought it would, you know. You got the little double gap action going on.
I mean, right, there's basically no resistance in this area. I
Yep.
mean, a little bit of a consolidation here, but for the most part, there's not much going on in this area.
Nope. And then it stopped. Did you see the end of day? Did?
Yeah, I did a little bit. What was that? That was the reaction to tariffs, right?
Yeah.
That was when Mo and Flips hit those SPX calls at the bottom, right?
Yeah. Here we go again. Dude, no, but I did we had some spy call or spy puts in pro voice chat and just happened to stumble into basically the tip top of that crater.
You gotta love it.
Yeah.
All right, R's got a question. When Nando and Flips are on VC, they speak on levels. Are the levels they're referring to supply and resistance lines?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is hopefully yes, but we can't really put words in their mouth. But generally speaking, any level that you're trading on should really be some form of supply or demand or support and resistance. They're kind of interchangeable terms. But if you're trading based off a level, you're trading support and resistance. Now, there's certainly varying qualities to those levels that you might find with different individuals, but the concept still remains the same.
Yeah. And that's it. You know, that's what I try to, you know, I always say in my lectures, like, I don't care what you call it, you know, levels, support, resistance, supply, demand, whatever you want to call it. It is all levels on a chart based on what a candle tells you, you know. I mean,
Right.
that's, you know, that's what all support and resistance is.
Yep.
That's what every day trader on the planet uses some form of it. You know, maybe it's, I should say, every profitable day trader on the planet uses some form of it. Maybe it's fibs, maybe they're finding their levels from different things, but there is always going to be areas, you know, levels, you know, support and resistance that are the targets for entries, exits, and stop outs on all good trades. There's always going to be those. Man, nice. Yeah. Those XLFs, that's a nice entry. That's about, I think that's what I don't even remember what we traded. Maybe if somebody was in here that took those with us. They were 48s or 49s or something on that swing that we took. And just so happened to get up in the money.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was a wild one. I mean, dumb luck. But then people wanted to trade bank earnings. So it was one of those times where I was like, well, I wouldn't trade the bank earnings because you'll probably get, you know, blown out and you won't make any money. But if you want to take a $40 gamble on XLF, let's take that. And then they just so happened to double. How are flips is also on point? Well, I mean, we all chart the same way, basically. You know, you identify those highs and lows. He also has a couple algos, you know, that, you know, they're around, they're available, I think. I'm not sure. And so he uses some algo levels as well. But you know, I can't really speak to how he does that. But that's all support and resistance. And everybody who charts well, you'll have a level at the exact same spot. I mean, you know, Tostie and I told you within 20 cents of where we thought the market would reject, and we told you that 4 days ago, 3 days ago. So, you know,
and it's pretty obvious. It's not like, you know, it's much of a
it's not
secret.
obvious. Like that's the thing with support and resistance is people try to like make it all like mystical. It's not. It's super easy, you know.
I mean, yeah, this is basically, you know, right around that prior all-time high area. You got the gap fill. I mean,
You got the gap fill and prior all-time high. You don't want to be long there, you
it
know.
looks like right at these FOMC highs too. So that's obviously going to be a significant little area too. So I mean, no matter how you look at it, somewhere in this general area, you got to expect some amount of sellers to step in. Yeah. So I don't know, kind of like we mentioned at the beginning of the lecture, fundamentally support and resistance really isn't that complicated. It's like it's
not
just
at
not.
all. Yeah, it's
Like,
not. You know, you identify where the market stops. That's what you're doing. You know, where did the market stop going up or stop going down? And so something, you know, to kind of go back to the first questions, you know, pull up a 5-minute chart or whatever, Testy. So something that flips makes huge advantage of, or takes huge advantage of, that we talk about all the time, is exactly what we discussed in that trade earlier. When you buy the dip, you look left and you say, I'm targeting these levels. Where did the market slow down or bounce or whatever it was? And flips identifies a lot of it on 5-minute charts, 15-minute charts. He just looks for those intraday bounce points and says, we're going to reject there, we're going to bounce there. And the market tends to do the same thing over and over again. So when you're, if you're short or, market's going down and you buy calls for a bounce, all he's doing is looking left and saying, okay, when we were breaking down, where did we consolidate or bounce up? And that's what you target. And so that was exactly like we talked about with those first trades. Jamal was talking, and you know, you look left and you target to the left. And it will work pretty dang repeatably. I mean, yeah, even right there where Tostie just marked, look an hour before we bounced at the exact same spot. So you just look at the chart, and you don't, you want to assume if a buyer was there before, a buyer will likely be there again. Of course, maybe not the fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, but if you're coming to a spot where there was buyers, an hour before, pretty good chance there's buyers there again. If you're coming to a spot where there were sellers an hour before, pretty good chance there's going to be sellers there as well. So for me, doing support and resistance personally, I chart well, and I'll use intraday targets like I just described, but I do all of my charting on the daily. I mean, they're the big levels that work over and over and over again. And you get much more dramatic reactions off of them. So I tend to stick to those. And then for me, you know, I'll say 90% of my levels come from wicks. I'm personally, I'm much more interested in a wick than I am where a body, opens or closes. Don't get me wrong, strong body close at highs or lows. I'll of course take note of that. But I like to mark wicks because the wick shows us where one side gave up. That's just my personal preference. Other people like to trade bodies of the candles, and it works just fine for them. I just like wicks. And what time frame? Daily for me. I mean, it's the one I like about. Stop losses is a little bit tricky. Um, I've done quite a few lectures on, entries, stop outs, take profits. So we're in a market that is extremely volatile, and there's some hard things to deal with that. One of them is you really do need to have the best entry that you can, because that's going to minimize your risk on the trade. However, the other issue is with the volatility in the market, 30-cent down candles that are instantly bought up on SPY are basically common, or sold off on SPY are very common these days. And so hard stops will get tagged a lot. It's why most of us recommend, and of course it is a hard trading psychology for people to actually, click that sell button for the loss. But very often a mental stop is going to help you a lot. Like you need to say, if SPY closes below, if you're in calls, you need to say, if SPY closes below 600, I'll stop out. Well, that doesn't mean if you just get a little wick under there, you want to get stopped out, which a hard stop will stop you out. So you want the candle to close down there for your stop out to come. And if you're having trouble getting stopped out a lot that way, chances are it's because you're setting a hard stop a little bit too tight, or your entry just leaves a little bit to be desired.
Aaron says, do I still use the 5-day SMA? I don't know if I ever talked about using the 5-day. Basically, the only like shorter term daily SMAs and EMAs I've ever really used are going to be the 9 and 21 EMAs, and I recently switched to the 10 and 20, which is fundamentally the same thing.
I use the 513 intraday, and then Tilio uses the 5 and 13.
Yeah, Tilio uses the 5 and 13. Maybe I pulled that up, or this is
Uh-huh.
834. What the hell is this?
That's another one I use. You probably got that one from me too. I like
I'm
that.
not sure. Yeah, so this is Tilio's 5 and 13. I probably pulled it up in lecture, but it's not something that I use
Yeah,
too
and the 5 and
frequently.
13, that was interesting because I've used it for years and I didn't realize that, and I use it intraday. I use it on like the 5 minute because it will often pick up a switch fast. It will pick up a switch faster than anything else. So you can sometimes have some pretty sniper entries on a cross of those things. You get that first cross of a 5 and 13 and buy the
Right
bounce up
there.
to, yeah, buy the
That's
bounce up to it.
clean.
And
That's clean. That's clean. Wow, actually a bunch of clean hits
yeah,
today. That's kind
it's
of
a really
wild.
nice one. But we had, yes, we had a range day. We also trended for most of the day, trend down, turned straight into trend up. When you got a tighter range day, it is completely useless, like
Yeah,
you can
this
like
you're getting blown out
you're
here.
getting wrecked all day long. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get, and so, it's not for the faint of heart, it's you need to have strong market momentum in one direction and be trying to catch those crosses early.
Yeah, this is nice.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And
But
look at
it's
this one.
but it's a
And then
risky
you get to
one.
this.
Don't
And
like I don't
this is horrible.
mhm, it can be tough. So like, and that's I
Right
should
here,
point
you're
out,
blown out.
they are all, all EMAs are garbage on during a range, a tight range, I should say. No EMA works well in a sideways market because you get so many fake outs on them. So be careful with it, but it is a fun one. But for anybody curious, you just kind of treat it like an angled support and resistance line, when you get those crosses and you try to short, or buy the first bounce or dip or whatever it is, your stop is just on the other side of the cross.
I haven't looked at those in a while. That's kind of clean.
Oh, dude, it's so good. But when you zoom out, dude, through 2023, it was wild. Or yeah, 2023, maybe it was 2024. Every dip to the 13 was just getting gobbled.
Yeah, probably 2024
Yeah, like look at that.
to the 5.
Dude, yeah, and dude, you bought any touch of that 13 and you made money for, 4 or 5 months.
That's pretty wild.
It was wild. It was wild. That was when Talia told me to use it on the daily, and I'd literally never heard of another person using it, other than when I read stuff back in the day, and then Talia uses it in classic Talia fashion, super unconventional. Like, oh yeah, pull up this really short period EMA combo on the daily.
Yeah, that was printing for a while. Even recently.
So I see another person again. So entry, if you're struggling with entry, um, it's I almost guarantee you it is a patience issue. You if you know your entry, but you aren't actually waiting for that entry to come and you're rushing in, you're buying early, like for me, like if I want to buy spy calls on a dip to 600, I buy them when they dip to 600, not when they dip to 615. And maybe I missed the trade because of that. But I want it very close to my entry. And chances are, if you aren't quite waiting for your entry, then that instantly means that your stop is moving up. And if you aren't, or, if you don't want to lose more money, but you have increased your risk just by taking the earlier entry. You've added more risk to the trade. So I'm willing to bet if you're just a little bit more patient on those entries and then you're really basing those stops based on, support and resistance, you always want to base a stop on something on the chart, not, your P&L. That's the key. If you sit and wait for your entry, your stop out before you enter, you start to have nothing to worry about in the trade. And then, which kind of reminds me, I saw one chart asked a question out there. Once you have all that planned, you start to feel a lot more confident. Which was one chart's question: how do you get the confidence to take a trade at your level? Time. And what I tell people is, when I chart support and resistance, I do it all on the daily, or daily if you need to, 4 hour, whatever it is, but I do it all on the daily. And then I zoom in. I go to the 5 minute and I go to like a lot of days, the 60-day 5 minute chart. And I just scan through it with my eyes and I see how my levels are working. You can call it back testing, it ain't that fancy. You're using your eyes and saying, okay, when the chart comes to this level, does it work? Nice and simple. That's all I do. And you know, then when you see like actual results on the charts, well, one, you will become a firm believer in charting on the daily because they are so effective. But the best way to have confidence in your levels is to go look at them actually working, and if they're working, you see it, and you can, when you visually see that on the chart, your confidence goes through the roof because you've seen, like, your eyes have now seen it work in the past over and over and over again. So you feel good about taking that trade. Yeah, 1K, very good answer. People panic when you don't have a plan. And when you do have a plan, there's nothing to panic about.
Yo, Zuki has an interesting question. Is time and sale something I should learn as a novice trader? If so, where's a good platform to view them on mobile?
Nope.
Yeah,
There's absolutely zero use for you to even look at it. It's not, it is so far from necessary for 99% of traders. You do not need it at all. If you were going to learn one, learn level 2 and learn it in the simplest way possible. Level 2 shows you orders waiting to be filled. So if you see a price, and it's going to show you, it's going to show you the price in the middle with a really big number at either BS or AS, bid side or ask side. If you see a price with a really big number at it, take note of that price. It's that simple. That's what you want to see, because if you are long and you're coming up to one of those that happens to be on the ask side and you see, 500 or whatever sitting next to it, that means there's a lot of people selling right there, and maybe you don't want to still be in the trade, but learn level 2 in a super, super simple way. And you likely never have to look at time and sales. I mean, you're kind of kidding yourself if you think your eyes can actually keep up with the time and sales as it's cruising, because level 2 orders waiting to be filled, time and sales orders that have filled. So that ship has come and gone by the time you see it there. You more want to look at the level 2, and then when you see a big old number, say, hey, we might not get past that, so maybe I want to trim or whatever it is. But just keep it really nice and simple. Like, what are you on? What do you have pulled up? Oh yeah, you got ES pulled up. And you can see on his level 2, like, look at the time and sales. Cool. You get to see a 1 and a 2 like a million times in the row, teaching you nothing, because I should point out, green merely means sold while the market's ticking up. Red means sold while the market, or, transaction while market ticks up, or transaction while market ticks down. So you're relatively unsure of if you're seeing a buy and or sell over there. Obviously, market's ripping, big number green, you're probably buying. Market's dumping, big number red, you're probably selling. But if you look at the level 2, you can see, I mean, I can't see because I don't have this thing like full screened or whatever, but 6,117.50, 37 contracts sitting right there. Probably don't want to be long until that breaks, because that's, I mean, somebody's basically saying that, hey, I'm willing to sell you, like, 13 million in notional value contracts right here. You can also, if you go back and look, it's kind of where the market sold a little earlier in the day, but you don't want to be, you don't want to be the buyer or the seller at, or you don't want to be the one hoping that level breaks, and so just use level 2, super simple.
Yeah, I think one other thing to note too, one thing that I like to look at when I use level 2s is, like, for example, I like to look at the size of the both the bid and the ask trades. And if the market's moving pretty significantly, these are basically limit orders, right? And if you see these numbers starting to decrease super rapidly, basically what that's telling you is people are either selling or buying the market, which buying and selling market is going to be more aggressive than kind of your typical limit order, right? As you guys know, if you want to get in and out of a trade instantly, you're going to market order, right? You're going to slap the ask, you're going to slap the bid, get in and out instantly. These people are a bit more patient and they're kind of here to stay for a little while. So if we started to trade into, let's say, for example, this bidder with a 38 size at 61 14.50, and we started to see that 38 like evaporate real quickly, basically what that's telling us is somebody's likely market selling into them, because we wouldn't see those opposite sided transactions coming up on the bid side, or yeah, on the ask side. So anyway, another kind of thing to think about here. And as you can see, we're coming into 60 14.15 right now, and that seller completely vanished. That was
Yep.
basically a perfect example of that right
So
there.
that's what
That buyer.
when you're watching these numbers, so an awesome way to learn this, and I know that, like, I talk about this stock all the time, go look at AT&T's level 2. It's fast, but it's not insanely fast. And you can literally watch an order at a level get chipped away at. You know, maybe it's 110, then it's 100, then it's 90, then it's 80. And you can start to say, hey, this level's probably going to break, you know? And AT&T is just a nice slow one that you can add, and like, you know, not so volatile that it's jumping, you know, 10 cents, 30 cents every second. You just see, you know, very slow movement. So go look at some of those slower movers, and I mean, you can pick up on level twos really quick. And don't get me wrong, you can get extremely advanced trading things like level two, but it's relatively useless.
Real quick, River, I think one kind of notable thing right now, and you can kind of see how quickly we're moving back through this level. Again, this is a 1 minute. It's super insignificant, but still a decent example. Is the ask side on these first couple ticks is pretty thin, right? You got a 3 size seller, a 14 size seller, and a 15 size seller. You don't really start to see that size back up there until about 61.16, which brings us right around back to these swing highs here. And again, right, this is the 1 minute. I mean, this is, you know, getting pretty ridiculous. But anyway, that's kind of the
But same way you apply it on a, you know, bigger times as well.
right, right, exactly. And anything going on in the 1 minute is going to be a bit less significant, as you guys probably know. But the ideas are still the same. Like right now, I would not be surprised. There's no real significant sellers until right around the 61.15. So, well, I guess that's
Pop up.
50 cents above. So,
Um, so do I filter level two? Nah, but filter time and sales. I mean, depends what you're watching.
well, I don't think you can filter level two.
Well, I was assuming that he meant like adding some other columns. You can add other columns in,
Oh, oh, oh,
was my assumption. Not,
oh, okay.
you know,
Like reorganizing, maybe.
but on time and sales, yes. I mean, you do not care one bit about the algos buying, you know,
Yeah,
tiny,
what I like to
tiny
do
orders a million times a day, you know.
if I ever have level two up, I like to filter at least for the spy. I only look at the spy and the Qs and just filter greater than 5,000. So basically the biggest filter possible. And I just use it for key levels. And you know, probably years ago at this point, you'd see me send some of the screenshots of those kind of massive, suspiciously sized orders in trade floor, not necessarily as a directional thing, but mostly just a level to watch out for. You know, kind of treat it like some of those levels you see hit the dark pools where, you know, somebody clearly was trading at, you know, say 523.12 with some amount of size. You don't necessarily know if they were a buyer or a seller, but you know that level matters. So just toss it on the chart and pay attention to how we react to it when we get there again. It's usually how I like to treat the level two or the time and sales.
Somebody asked, um, uh, somebody, never mind. Still reading over here.
Oh my God, Archon says, what time's this workshop tomorrow? Nobody knows what's going on.
No,
JJ, just so you know, I'm assuming you're talking about if it's when you say if it's green, then it's support, red, it's resistance. Um, what River was saying is that's kind of referring to the level or the time in sales here, where green and red don't necessarily represent support and resistance, but rather if the market ticks up a point or you know any amount, the time in sales is going to show as green, and if the market ticks down, it's going to show as red. So we could even just kind of filter by nothing. The last tick in the market was down, and everything's showing as red. And let's just wait for the next tick. Okay, it looks like down again. Okay, and then we moved up a bit there, and all of the orders show as green. So that's basically the difference there.
yep, that's it. That was such a perfect example.
Yeah, that was perfect. It was like perfectly in sync too, right on time.
Yeah.
Could you explain what liquidity wicks are? The wicks that poke above resistance. Yeah, that's actually kind of an interesting question. I think I'm trying to think of a name that I guess SPY is a decent example on the daily actually, which isn't necessarily a liquidity wick, but a similar idea and a real good example as to why you should only trade closed candles. Um, Looking at the daily here, right, there's a pretty clear level of support right around this 580, 581 area, right? Kind of multiple bottoms in the same area. Both of these bottoms with kind of a reasonable amount of volume here. This day here, definitely decent amount of volume and slightly above average on the next touch there. This is what you might consider, I don't want to say a liquidity candle, but almost like a fake out, right? And River kind of loves to tout this statistic where what is it, 80, 90% of breakouts fail, something like that.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a breakout failure, right? And this happens all the time. You know, your traders that are looking to short the market here on this breakdown, all of a sudden, you know, are down 15, 20 points in the matter of a couple days. So that's something that I would consider maybe a liquidity candle or a failed breakout or whatever you want to call it. And kind of fundamentally, the reason why those may or may not occur is a lot of other people in the market are paying attention to support and resistance, right? It's a very common thing to be mindful of. And it's kind of
Oh yeah.
okay in
And
respect.
even this bottom, always just look left, like mark that bottom, and it was just it was the election gap high, or low rather. Like, yeah, like, that's the little poke. You see that little poke under it? Gap
Mhm.
filled. And everybody wanted to be short down there. Funny enough. Like, I mean, the candle opened at, just below the gap fill level and was instantly bought over it. And all that is the market testing it. Are we ready to break down? Nothing more than that. It's not
Yep.
to fake anybody out. It's not, BlackRock trying to screw a retail traders, 6 contracts the same days. It's
No, that's
just the
what it
market
is.
saying, am I ready to break down?
It's the hedge funds getting all the retail traders with stop losses there. That's what it was.
That's what people want to think it is, but I hate to break their bubble.
Yeah, I mean breakouts fail, right? Bears had all the strength over this time period, and they tried the breakdown, right? They sold into whatever news or event was going on this day, and Bulls made a stand, right? So you got to remember that the game of the market is basically a constant tug of war between buyers and sellers, and that's why it's important to react to candle closes, not opens, right? This bar closed and look, a whole lot more bullish than bearish, right? Seeing that
Yeah.
failed breakdown, but if you
And
just
like, look at
sold
where
the
it
open,
opened. Yeah.
you're wrecked.
Yeah. Ugly open. Turned
And
into
I
a
mean,
great
after
day.
you see that close, right, you'll notice a bit of a pattern. Here, 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 oops, here. Basically, every significant bottom has a bar that looks like this, right, with little to no wicks, bar closing near its high. I mean, every single bottom in recent history. Here, it's not like a new thing. The market is not manipulated. You just took a shitty trade.
That's that's what's in my bio. I was hoping that he wasn't gonna say.
That's funny. I haven't
Yo,
seen it.
Toasty, can you look at a chart for me?
Oh God, here we go. What's up, Norman? I forgot.
Uh,
Nobody's unmuted in a while, so I kind of forgot.
I have CLS and Rigetti.
Oh no, I can't look at quantum names anymore, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
you
on a
took
high.
your alert, Norvin, and you blew his port, man.
I'm
I've
on a
been uh,
hiatus.
I've
Look at
been
where he
buying this
bought.
name, bro.
I got long here.
Yeah.
Yo, screw you guys.
Dude, no, that's
Forget it.
Toastie's entry. He did. That's not even a joke.
No, that's not a joke. I did. You can even see my alerts still.
That's his green circle. And I'll tell you what, that day, me and Talia told him no, and he told us we were idiots.
I think the market was manipulated.
It was, dude, you were on top of the world for an hour.
Yeah, because I hit it right here, and I was like, "Oh no way!" And I was up
Until he
5
wasn't.
or 6% in
Dude,
20 minutes.
he was telling me and Talia we were so dumb. And then that.
And that's when I saw us come down to here. I was like, "Uh-oh, that's not good." Um, Sorry, what was the question, Norman? Rigetti and CLS?
Yeah, I'm buying shares of these two
Well,
companies here.
I'll say a prayer for you on Rigetti. CLS, you're buying at plus 13% today. I really hope you were buying a little bit earlier than just today. But I mean, what does CLS do again? Are they in power generation as well?
They do electronics for data centers.
Okay. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, I mean, it goes in well with the theme, right? A lot of these kind of AI themed names are all really moving together. Oh, this name reported earnings yesterday too and had a nice reaction there. I mean, nice gap up on earnings. I don't know if I personally would have decided to buy today. Um, and I probably wouldn't have bought from earnings either, to be honest. What I would buy is maybe a move back down into this spot here, right around the 107 area, personally. But I mean, you can't deny that it looks damn strong, right? I mean, on what was this, a 20-ish% drop, and then now basically retrace the whole thing. That's pretty significant, right? So it's a leader in the kind of subsector it's in of the whole AI supporting sectors, right? You have VRT, which is still real beat down. some of your other power generation names, GEV, CLS, or not CLS, CEG, Oklo, right? All these names moving back up with a lot of significance. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, Norman. I don't love the entry personally. I think it's a bit extended today. But I mean, I don't hate the name. I think you've had better entries though, personally.
Lambus, is it really your birthday tomorrow?
Yeah, there's another company I've been looking at. I haven't bought nothing, but it's CINA, Sienna. They also do components for
CINA? I'm not seeing that.
So while you're looking for it, somebody's asking, do we all trade on Thinkorswim? Not everybody, but I think most people are on Thinkorswim or Webull. Definitely recommend them. I know there, and then I know we got some videos floating around of how to set them up. And then always feel free to send me a DM or tag me if you got any questions.
I'm on trading on Hard Rock Bet. BB says, is it possible for traders like you, Tostie, Flips, Nando, and Started provided a breakdown? Oh yeah.
I mean, we
Yes.
all, me, Toasty, and 1K all do lectures every single week where, I mean, it covers everything that all of us do. So there is definitely a ton of information for all of us. A lot of us, Nando kind of does his own thing. He doesn't share a lot of his like trading ideas. I'm sure you can pick up on some of it in VC. And then Flips, he's like every, he's just like me, Testy, 1K, everybody, support, resistance, trends, and volume. That's what most of us trade with. One thing you learn is you trade longer and longer, the less indicators you need, so basically all of us are going to give you the same answer: get good at support and resistance as step number one. And then if you want to start using some EMAs or whatever it is, just keep it nice and simple is always going to be the best answer.
Yeah.
I found the Toasty CIEN.
Oh, I've heard of that one before, I think. Sienna. Protest.
Dude, Northern, but we need to work on your entries because like we need SMCI style entries. You keep giving us the entries that like it's already up, 200% year to date.
All-time highs every week.
Yeah,
West.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys Snowflake. There you go.
Bro,
All right.
Actually,
snow
no,
is
snow's actually a decent one. River's gonna say you're buying a double top, but
he's totally buying a double top, dude. Someone asked me about this today, dude.
yeah, I do
He's
it.
totally buying a double top. I
I
will
actually don't
say
hate it.
I don't hate snow, but everybody else hated snow, a month
Oh,
ago, and now
double.
it's up.
It did wick off the 200 simple this week. That's actually not that good.
And then
That's actually
everybody
a kind of a
hated it.
wild spot.
Everybody hated it in October and November, and now that it's up 60%, oh, Snowflake's great, like, gotta be careful chasing them highs, I run from that.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more concerning than I realized. I knew River was going to say you're buying a double top because when you look at it, I mean, it does kind of look, pretty
Like you're buying a double top.
like yeah, it looks like a
It's
pretty
like-
classic double top.
It's pretty classic.
But I mean, the action from yesterday and today looks decent, right? Decreasing selling volume on the way down and a little bit of volume picking up as you wick off the EMAs there. So it definitely could be worse.
Yeah, but I'd like it more at one
Well,
at
well,
the
also-
double bottom.
Well, one thing to consider though is it is kind of part of that emerging theme. A lot of money is rotating out of AI hardware into AI related software. So you have your names like Snow, ServiceNow. Oh, never mind that one. Okay, never mind.
A little bit of volume on that sell.
Service now I drop $136
D-Dog,
today.
no, D-Dog, what is it? Net's on a heater. Yeah, I
That's
guess
on heater.
ServiceNow, I guess.
Pull up ACHR. SK's
Yeah.
asked about it a couple times, and now I feel bad.
ACHR. What are these
Dude, this
people?
is that funny like airplane one that like I'm still not sure if it's a real company. Is it just a pump and dump? I can't like really figure it out.
Archer together, what's its subsidiaries? That's the first line, and that's super
I
sketchy.
I know. The thing
Electric
moved.
vertical takeoff and landing aircraft.
Yeah, I knew they did something. Well, yeah, and then I think like they're getting into personal aircrafts, like
I think it's similar to
Electric. Oh,
FTAI.
oh. No, this like the EV tolls. It's like Joby. These two names both have been pretty hot recently, actually. The Joby like doubled off the lows basically, and whatever ACHR, whatever this is.
It's the one everybody talks about, dude. That's the bigger one, dude. That one's like
I mean,
people.
this one's 2x. It's not somewhere I'd personally buy it. I'd like to see this volume taper off a bit more personally and have some more kind of.
Dude, but I charted this one and pull that trend from that like super high volume sell. Yeah, go to the bottom. Go to the bottom of that
Here?
cell. No, left. Left. Well,
Yo, where's Dark Magician, bro?
down, 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 down,
No,
down, down. Draw it from there up to the right. Right there. Down. Well, I'd go up the. Oh my God. I'm gonna jump. Did you disable annotations for others?
no, I didn't.
Does that
Can
mean
you
I
just
can draw
draw?
on? Can I just draw on here?
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Unless you're talking about this.
Well, that one's good, but if you would just extend that down lower, you'd probably like see what I'm getting at. I mean, I would have gone from like the lows up, but that's just me. Still not there, probably.
I need a class on sport resistance. Hang on.
I think you did.
You're talking about from the dead lows like
I wish
this?
I knew. Nah, I wish I knew how to. I'm not
That's
even
actually a
looking.
good trend.
Yeah, that is a good one. I don't hate that one either. Yeah, we'll just go with that. It's still not what I would have drawn, but we'll just go with that. I like it. I wish I could figure out how to draw on this thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, this one I was gonna say SK. I'd like it a little bit more, at least at the 50 simple. It's at what 850-ish. Gives you a decent low risk buy there. But on a name with this much volume, especially off these highs, you got to be careful with this sort of thing. You've seen these kind of reversals, real high volume reversal. This nice wick to the upside, bear bar closing near its low. Kind of some sequential lower highs too. So you got to be a bit cautious on this one and make sure you're taking an entry real close to a level of support. In my opinion, this definitely isn't one where you'd want to be buying the breakout. After all that high volume, you got to expect those highs to get sold into with some significance. Like, if you're taking the breakout buy at least above these highs, 950, I guess all the way up to 1050 is probably decent risk to reward, about 10% on a name like this. But I don't know. I guess I don't also really. Oh,
What about that one?
I didn't. Okay, yeah, that's a decent one. That's also a really nice trend that you drew there. Look at that.
I mean, it's probably not exactly how I would have drawn on my computer, but that's what I'd be eyeing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'd be eyeing. Something like that. Nice trend line right there. So that's
Yeah.
the words of somebody using calls. Yeah, there you go.
That's a
That,
nice
yeah,
trend.
that looks way better. Yeah, like that. That's what I would have been eyeing.
Yeah,
That's what I would have been eyeing. But
definitely.
gonna make a move, gonna make a move one way or the other sooner than later. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm still not fully convinced it's like real. It's putting off like luck and coffee vibes sort of to me. But
Ooh, bros.
yeah, bro's on the heater, dude.
Yeah, this one's on a wild heater.
Yeah, bro's on a heater. Yeah, but
Mario's.
I honestly kind of like it, SK.
Whoa, Starbucks is on a heater too.
Yeah, oh dude, Starbucks on them earnings. People like that.
Wow, Starbucks on a heater. What about Chipotle? Doing nothing once their
Less of a
CEO
heater
bounced.
but they where'd the Chipotle guy go? He went to
To
Starbucks?
Starbucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Starbucks on a heater though. Starbucks looking real good.
Actually could be decent right there. Reclaim of the 50. I hate Chipotle though.
Would you do a little support and resistance on AT&T for me?
Whoa.
Yeah, I thought you'd want to see that chart. Ripper.
AT&T support and resistance, you got to zoom out heavy because that's the easiest way to do it. I mean, you got so much history on this name. Obviously, you got to mark that double top off and okay, right into it this week. Nice.
I know.
Oh, wait, I don't have my normal drawings. Might as well just redo my normal drawings.
Yeah, this is the best stock ever.
Look at those two levels. I mean, so obvious. Just beautiful.
I know. Isn't it good? Okay, so like what would you have done at close today? What was your trade into close today?
YOLO calls,
Yeah,
obviously.
of course, yeah, me too. Next week's 25s. They better be up. They better be up big tomorrow.
Obviously, obviously you're not going short.
No, but I did, but I'm still so mad, man. I had those calls on Friday, and then right before close, I was like, I'm gonna cash it. Big mistake before that earnings.
Oh, you got a little You got a little head and shoulders from Nando though.
Oh my God, I'm gonna jump.
How do I draw this?
Somebody out there honestly probably thinks that's a Head and Shoulders is the best part.
I don't know how to draw a circular line on this, whatever.
It's because Head and Shoulders don't work. Yeah, but I swung long on that thing. I'll tell you what, it was looking really, really good until like the last 30 minutes of the day. But that
Nancy Pelosi.
check out KO too.
Oh, so far that's one thing I want to look at.
Yeah, SoFi looking nice. I was looking at it today.
Yeah, I think I said. Oh yeah, KO looks good over 64.40.
Right, doesn't it? It looks like it's finally ready to wake up, man.
Yeah.
It's had a rough go.
Oh, off the 200 too. That would have been a
I know.
sniper entry too. Wow. Yeah, SoFi I was looking at today actually. SoFi actually looks real decent.
SoFi looks good.
I mean,
And did that daily breakout over that trend pullback didn't like make it all the way back down to the trend, you know? Obviously the breakout like a week ago or whatever.
also still have that gap marked too. That's pretty
Perfect.
quick.
Like I mean the perfect bounce a couple days ago. That was one I don't know if he's in here, but we got a guy. He's in the voice chats a lot. I really like him, and he's been trading some of those cheaper names. It's just hitting on him, and
I'm gonna full port SoFi over 1650 and see what happens.
you're gonna hold forward so high over 1650. That sounds like a super toasty trade. APP, huh?
Just so I remember.
Got it. I don't know what APP is.
They use software. AI.
Of course, classic.
Yeah, just like anything. APP looks decent. A little bit of consolidation in the volume there. You're not seeing super high volume as we push those highs anymore, so that's a positive.
When's
Breaking
earnings?
back above this.
It has done absolutely nothing since the last earnings, so they're waiting on something.
Yep. It kind of reminds me a little bit of this actually reminds me a lot
No,
of
Toasty is not full porting SoFi at the highs for sure. Just
No,
to clarify.
I'm gonna
Just to
wait the full-
clarify. Toasty is in fact kidding, and well, maybe he is, but nobody else is besides him. We'll just
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till we get to 18 to full port. That's when I know. Then when we have the confirmation. Gotta wait for confirmation on those. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just trolling River, right?
Very, yeah. How did you? Toasty got caught up in thinking a troll was real today, and he's mad at me about it.
I'm not mad at you. IWM, yeah, IWM I was looking at recently. IWM's really beat down though. Honestly, it's really struggling at the 50 simple. River's gonna hate me for saying this, but I actually much prefer ARKK if you're trying to play small caps in the sector as a whole.
Oh my God, yeah, that's like saying I hate money.
Yeah, this one. Well, this one I actually like a lot better. I mean, real nice, just very simple, long-term base, right? Basically break and retest of the same base. And now a second little mini base on top of that, reclaim of the weekly 200. You're sitting right at a massive pivot here, 63.50. Obviously, still could be, maybe a double, triple, or multiple top as we move into this. But
Thank you. Thank you. Let's point the obvious out.
well, yeah, obviously it could be, but you got some nice higher lows as you move into this. Decent buying volume on the way up as well, which that's a positive, right? Nice buying volume at the lows, and as we push these highs as well, you get above that 63.50, and it's kind of blue skies.
But I liked IWM. I was looking at it today. Oh yeah, I was basically looking at the same thing as you. I want to see it back over about 230-40 was what I had.
Yeah,
really,
it's got to break that 50 simple, but it's nice to see it back above this kind of weekly level and maintaining there decently.
yeah, but still,
230 is really the place to be.
Whether you like ARK or IWM, the small caps are definitely a place to have your eyes on going into it. Well, unfortunately, less rate cuts this year, so it's probably going to underperform.
Then you did cool off a
bit.
decent amount though.
I thought it was going to be the Ripper. Now I only think it's going to kind of be the Ripper.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a little bit of cooling off in rates, but this isn't an instrument to really do technical analysis on, but in theory, should kind of stall out a bit.
Yeah, what's the 10-year at?
4.5.
Did it? Oh, that's the 10-year?
Yeah.
I can't read a thing on your charts.
Yeah, 4.5.
Will you go to the intraday? What did it do on that tariff news end today?
Nothing.
Ripper. Oh, well, Ripper.
No, that's yesterday. Today it did nothing. It went from 4.51 to 4.53.
Oh,
Yeah. Yesterday though, it had a little more fun on the FOMC though.
yeah, yeah. There was a little
2:30 candle. What are you talking about, Lambo?
on SPY.
Oh yeah. I was like, what? This thing did not move.
Oh
Yeah,
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 that
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
lifer.
That was brutal. That's where me, Flips, and Mo hit calls right at the bottom.
Dude, but all jokes aside, today in voice chat, dude, we had such a sick entry on those things. I think we were buying. I'm trying to look. I was buying. Where's this order, dude? I didn't take that many trades today. Dude, we bought 605 puts at 12:34 our time. Dude,
Yeah.
it was hands down the luckiest trade I've done in a while. And I felt terrible. But dude, then so see that, like, and I know you're on the 1 minute, so see two red candles later. That's where I sold. So, it's not like I caught the whole move. But dude, it was hilarious. We were just talking in
I
voice chat.
gotta ask, why are you getting short there?
The gap top.
Oh, you just saw the rejection off the gap top and you just took
The
it a
gap
bit
top.
late.
And it was like, I mean, the obvious trade there is short because your stop's tight. But it wasn't like, I mean, I was looking for a dip to like buy at the bounce, likely, and then
Right. I mean, that's why you sold it so quick. I mean, you got
and I bought two
605.
contracts, and then I was laughing, and then there's a few of us in there, a couple of the normal, the regular people. Oh, look, clandestine is in here. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I forgot we blasted outside of the bounce too. Uh and then yeah, it was me and Clandestine that were talking about it. And then we had just been looking at that dude. He was outside of the band for candles and candles and candles in a row. And then I was like, yeah, gap top. If there's anything to do, it's be short. And we missed the dude. We were looking at it at the very, very tip top. And I just basically shorted that wick. We got that little wick up, and I was like, I'm gonna try it here. And then Clandestine said, oh, you got this, bro. I'm gonna sit it out. And then, dude, you should look at those. They did what they did.
What are they?
There's 605s.
Okay. 0130.
I think we had them at 24, if I remember right. Something like that.
24. Yep, you definitely could have filled them there. That is a good. You were
And that
able
was,
to
I
keep
mean,
track.
dude, and there was time, like, I mean, people had time to like get like whenever we were looking at them, there was some time to buy them at 24. I think I even went a couple bucks red, maybe.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say they hit 22 that same
Yeah,
bar. So
yeah.
you bought them at
But it was so funny. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm just gonna buy these. I don't love them, It's like no point to
1200%, dude. Are you kidding me?
yeah, even a little more, dude. Get up to the highs, dude. Get up to the highs, dude.
Yeah, 1300, dude. Are you kidding?
Dude, it was the most hilarious luck ever. And then, dude, I'm just sitting there not in the trade. Cause like, dude, I sold at $41.
I mean, still almost 100%. That's pretty good.
Dude, yeah, in 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. You're at 100% basically.
Yeah.
Can't really go wrong with that.
No, it was hilarious, dude. It was a good one.
Yeah, that's something. That's something to pocket.
Yeah. But
That's
just it did, dumb luck. And then but it was actually pretty hilarious, dude, because I was literally like, dude, somebody asked me a question about FOMC. And I was like, yeah, he's obviously pretty worried. He knows like some of the policies coming are pretty inflationary. Oh, nice to go sideways.
Nice.
Knows some of the policies are like pretty inflationary, and he's like a little bit worried about like tariffs. And then the market just starts like dumping. I'm like, what's going on? And somebody's like, oh, he's announcing tariffs on China or on Mexico and Canada. And I was like, yeah, so this is what happens when we get tariffs.
Yeah, and it just fully rebounded too, and even in the after hours, it's
Just ripped on it. Well,
yeah,
and then we
things
got
like
Apple. Apple went on a little moon mission. They must have liked that.
yeah.
They must have liked whatever was on the conference call.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. Whatever they said. I
But
didn't
then
see
I
any.
looked, dude, and like, dude, they beat projections in Japan by like 1 billion. I mean, dude, everything I saw in the report was pretty good.
Oh, they beat on the bottom line,
Beat
2.4
beat
earnings. Let's
beat
see.
everywhere except for China sales.
Actually, I usually like to go on.
Yeah. Okay, well, I see we're losing people. Thanks everybody for being here. I know we ran a little late tonight. We're basically just chatting, but great questions tonight. Thanks everybody. I appreciate
Yeah, yeah, it was a good time. Cool. Yeah, we'll call it here. Happy birthday to Lambo.
it. Yeah, happy
Hopefully you
birthday,
celebrate
Lambos,
with
tomorrow.
some heaters, and yeah, we'll see you guys all in the next one.
Hey, Toasty,
Yeah.
can I ask you one more thing real quick before you go?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, I saw you ask a question earlier. I'm sorry, Aaron. You were talking about volume,
No,
right?
yeah, can you pull up SPY on the 5 minute?
Yeah. Give me one sec. Cool. What you got?
So I took a trade. Yeah, I can draw. So first of all, I thought you did a lecture before on that 5 daily SMA. I've used that uh
I don't think
quite a
so.
while now, but
I've done
someone
Maybe.
it.
did it.
You
I don't
might
know.
have. Are you sure it wasn't one of my lectures?
Maybe it was yours.
It's
I can't
easy to get
remember.
River and I confused. We're pretty similar fellas.
That's the rudest thing you've ever said.
But I have that pulled up and it's where's it on my chart? About like here.
Gross.
Oh,
Annotating the chart. Okay.
I
yeah,
like it, dude. Don't move the chart, Tostie. Let's let him chart, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead and yeah, talk us through. I'll let you chart it.
All right, yeah. So that was the five, and then we had that initial pump up to there, and then
Okay.
that pretty ugly dump below, and then right on this candle here, we had that volume spike, and then followed by the next green candle on like a third of the volume of the one before it,
Hmm?
and then if you draw that line across, it's like, oh shit. Well,
Yeah, let's
about
take
right
it.
there
Let's see what you got
is
there.
that daily. So I got short on that green candle here, and I wrote it down all the way here. But does that make sense for like seeing those two green candles and that
Yeah,
volume dip as like the anomaly, and
Yeah.
then
that's great. That's great.
taking a short off of that?
And then
Is
where
that
was your
valid?
stop though? Nobody cares about the profit.
Above
What
the
are
five.
entry and stop?
Entry was the moving average. I have the 9 moving average, so it was like right about here.
Yeah,
And then my stop was at the 5 daily.
perfect. Perfect. I mean, I like it.
Yeah,
I like
that's
it. Great trade.
honestly sounds great. Yeah, I love how you use the kind of the volume price action terminology or volume price analysis terminology as well. That's really killer, and it sounds like you spotted that pretty well. I don't know how the hell to get out of the annotations. I mean, you got a lot working for you at that point in the day too. Just kind of zooming out a little bit and marking a couple more intraday levels just so we have them for reference. You're kind of in the middle of your pre-market high and pre-market low, so that's not specifically working in your favor. But you did get a nice kind of failed breakout above pre-market high, which um, I don't remember who says this quote, but failed moves lead to big moves or something. I don't know. I probably butchered it, but um, yeah, it's always good to see those failed breakouts. It definitely helps fuel moves in the opposite direction if you're going for that. And then you got a nice
Well,
little
and
pivot.
then I was gonna say this entry, up here where you were saying that, I'm drawing now. Up here, good entry. Right
Jesus,
here,
dude.
right here is your trim. If you're in more than one, you have to trim on the way down here.
Right.
Because this is the bounce point. It's one of those days where you happen to get the knife through it. But generally, if you're entering up here and you get this push down to what was the previous low of day, you want to take that trim at the previous low of day. And then what I would do is bump the stop to, your level or this pre-market low level. And then, you know, ride it down a little bit more. And then obviously at this point, you've got like a $3 move, ratchet up that stop, or $2 move, ratchet up that stop and protect your profits.
Right, and even continuing kind of down the line of the volume price analysis theme here, I'm trying to move away from those drawings. It's kind of pissing me off a little bit. God damn
I like
it.
it.
Trying to get it all correct. I don't want to Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, if you're just trying to pay attention to volume price analysis alone, right? Kind of like you mentioned, if you're day trading this, my stop's probably right around here, which I assume is close to the five daily moving average. Your entry, you said, is right about here. Pretty realistic. Like River said, your first trim's got to be at these lows, right? You had high volume buyers stepping into these lows. You got to be at least trimming there. You get that break below on kind of average selling volume, I'd say, average for that time of day. So definitely a good time to at least shift your stop down if you don't sell the whole position. And then here, this next bar, you get above average buying volume. So a very reasonable price to either sell all or, just continue to keep the stop tight. And then once you see this failed breakdown, right, you see selling volume decrease on these two bars lower, and we aren't able to kind of maintain below these lows. I mean, I guess you get the close barely below, you squeak it below, so maybe you at least drop your stop down a bit to these wicks. Once you start to see this kind of move up back through your levels on rising volume, there's definitely no longer a reason to be in that trade, right? You get three bars with increasing buying volume. The size of the bull bars also kind of corresponds to the amount of the volume as well on those. So you could even take that same concept a bit further in terms of the volume price analysis there. But I mean, it sounds like fundamentally, you and the other guy who came up to talk about your trades, it sounds like you guys got a great kind of head on your shoulders and way you're thinking about things. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I watch Volume nonstop from now on after your lectures and reading some of that book. I'm not finished with it yet, but it's it's helped me so much.
Dude, I'm so happy to hear that. Dude, that book is great too. River, have you read that one by what's her name? Anna Cooling?
I
Hmm.
literally told you about that book, but yeah, I've read it. It's a good one.
No, you did it
I bet you I did.
at some point, probably after I read it. Or before when I was gonna. Anyway, yeah, it's a great book, and it's such a simple way of thinking about the market. I think that's one of the only books you need to read to learn how to really pay attention to volume. And once you read that, your volume price analysis is going to be perfect, and it's just a matter of mastering, entries, exits, and the psychology. But I love that book, honestly. It's so great. And I mean, those same concepts show up all over the place. You look at some of the more emerging themes in the market, right? TEM, right? Nancy Pelosi bought this one, so obviously a bit of news and kind of hype behind it, but it's the same idea, right? Where look at this, you have buying volume. If you zoom out on the weekly, record buying volume. Automatically, your eyes got to be on it, right? And you don't have to read a book to be able to look at this and say clearly this matters. But record buying volume, you always got to pay attention, or record selling volume. Either way, you got to be paying attention and taking notice. And then when you see that volume start to contract on the pullback, that's exactly what you want. And then as price begins to expand in range once again, especially on this mini breakout here, this is basically textbook in terms of volume price analysis. And this is something that you see across the marketplace right now in these different themes. Yeah, some of your software names, some of your AI names too. So anyway, yeah, it's an excellent book. It's called Volume Price Analysis, JJ. I have like a whole, how many lectures is it, Aaron? Like six or something? Six lectures series on the book. Um,
But
Something like that. Yeah, that was a fun one though. I'm really happy to hear that, Aaron. That's awesome.
Dude, that's
yeah,
awesome.
if you look on Spy 2, every time there's like a big reversal, I was looking at the 5 minute, it's usually there's a volume anomaly with it. Like at that first big bottom, there's an anomaly, decreasing price, higher candle spread, and then the reversal.
Dude,
And then at
I
the top of it
hearing you
again, and
say
then
these terms is so cool. I don't know why I'm really fired up to hear you say this, dude. Yeah, I mean,
good book,
today,
man.
right? A little bit of a volume anomaly at these highs, right? You have elevated volume with a decreasing candle spread. Not necessarily a reversal signal on this one, but definitely a reason to kind of be cautious a bit. And then same idea here, kind of like we talked about. Candle spread size is increasing, volume drops off. There's going to be another anomaly, which ended up being your
Yeah.
bottom there. And again, same kind of idea here, right? On this pullback, we're basically seeing decreasing selling volume, also midday, so you can't give it too much weight. Um,
Hmm.
and then even here, right? Similar idea, decreasing candle spread, volume increases. This is a bit of a funkier one, though, as obviously there's news here. And then again, another anomaly on this one here. So, yeah, I mean, really, really cool, Aaron. This is one of the best systems in my opinion. It's just so simple. It's so data focused. It's easy to track. Um, I don't need to explain that to you though. It sounds like you're way ahead of most people in terms of that. So you're killing it, dude. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you showing me.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. I'm just happy to hear at least one person's using it. I haven't thought about that in a little bit. So it's just, yeah, really, really cool stuff. Cool. Well, this has been a real fun lecture, everybody. Yeah, appreciate you guys all coming out. It was a fun conversation. Any last words, River?
Nope, this is good. I had a really good time. Thanks for doing it, Tostie.
Should we just do every lecture together?
No, no.
Every lecture is just me and you.
Oh my God, that sounds
I
horrible.
could even come up there too. We could do it from the same computer. You get the
I-
keyboard, I get the mouse.
I'd jump, dude. I'd jump.
We could take breaks too. I get the cigarettes on the porch and you get the mouse for a bit.
Oh my God, that sounds terrible too. Okay, well, I'm out of here. Thank you, everybody. We will catch you all tomorrow.
What's
Thanks,
tomorrow?
guys.
Oh, VC. All right, see you guys. Thanks again.